Weigh in along with a special guest today, the new lab lady,
The
the
new
NLL.
lab lady.
We'll have fun with her. All right, very good. Anyway, good to have you guys.
Oh, it's always a pleasure.
Very good, very good. Okay, buddy. I love your shirt. That
Well,
is a
thank you.
nice shirt and tie.
I know. I gotta be vibrant. If that's my
Vibrant?
personality, right?
Vibrant is good. That's
Yeah.
that's a good term.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, okay,
Yeah.
vibrant. You, vibrant.
That's me. When you think of Jason
was-
Edwards,
I
you
think-
think of vibrant.
Vibrant or bubbly? And I wasn't
Bubbly.
sure which
I
one.
like bubbly.
Bubbly.
Now, other people might think differently. but
Well,
no,
that's why I think vibrant might be a better term than
Oh, yeah.
bubbly. Bubbly may get you a little trouble.
tea can be bubbly.
Tegan can be
Tegan's the
bubbly.
new bubble.
Sure. She can do bubbles in the chemistry lab. Well, you can
There
make
you
bubbles.
go.
Right.
All right, very good. All right, so a couple things obviously going on.
Mm-hmm.
We still have no visitors to the hospital because of the COVID-19 restrictions are still in place.
Correct.
Also, if you have symptoms of the coronavirus, you call the hospital.
Absolutely.
You do not show up at the hospital. You call a hospital. There's a separate area for you to go to be tested, correct?
Absolutely. You want to call into the hospital, or you can call your provider.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to them first and foremost, and they can will screen you to see if you need to be tested.
Okay.
But if for an instance, somebody does show up at the hospital and think that they have it, we do have processes in place to where we do have a separate screening area that we would go, and our lab professionals know exactly what they're doing. So we do encourage the public to call first. That way we can be prepared and take care of the patient the best way we can.
Okay. So again, no visitors. Also, another caveat to the scenario that we have going on right now is that if you do have an appointment at SMDH Family Medicine, do not bring anybody with you. No visitors with that patient as well.
Exactly. It's going to be the same policy as the hospital with Salem Family Healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And that is for the public safety.
Sure.
We want to make sure everybody is taking care of themselves and keeping, the social distancing. And you will see the medical professionals, all staff in the hospital, if you happen to see them running through campus, we are masking.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is for your protection. We want to make sure if you have a carrier, you may not know it. You may not show signs or symptoms, but so we are going to protect ourselves. Protect the public from us.
Sure.
So, and that's the meaning behind the mask.
And really, right at this time, we all know that everything has changed in the last 45 to 60 days, totally, to where elective surgeries no longer being held. However, that may be turning around here soon, where some people may have to get things done
Right.
pretty soon. When some people book these things a long way ahead of time, like colonoscopies and things, you usually got to book them about a month and a half, 2 months ahead of time, because they only do so many a day.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, that time comes and goes, and when can I get back in there and get this done?
Right.
Maybe I'm past due. Maybe I have other things I need to have checked. Those things will be getting done here. Not yet.
Right. Right.
Not yet.
Right.
But the hospital will be re-examining this come next week after the first phase
Mm-hmm.
kind of gets in there. And then, of course, some hospitals have already started to open up with some elective surgeries now. So it's very slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be overnight. We're not going to flip the switch and say, okay, it's gone.
Right.
And everything's good to go. So basically, just kind of keep your ears and eyes open.
Absolutely. And we will definitely inform the public and make sure to get out exactly what you guys need to know if you do have a procedure, an outpatient procedure that we are currently not doing. Most outpatient procedures we're continuing to do. We've continued to do for this whole duration.
Oh, sure.
Certain things we just aren't able to do, whether being we need other contract services that we can't get at this point in time. So, but we will definitely keep the public aware of when things will be coming out, when we'll be doing those services again. So just be prepared to hear for those.
Okay, well, one service that will not be held here in May that has been for a long time will be the health fair, right?
Yes, and unfortunately, we regret, we just, with what's going on with COVID and the current situation and just the uncertainties, to protect and think about the public, we're going to have to cancel that at this time. Unfortunately.
Takes your glory away, Tegan. I'm telling you right there. That's the highlight for
Oh, it is a great service for the
It is
community.
a fantastic service.
And and that's the thing is, Tegan, she's new to our hospital. I mean, she is, and we are so happy to have her. And she's bringing a great knowledge, specifically with health fairs. And we were so excited whenever the health fair was coming up that we can show her, hey, this is what we're doing, and can we have Tegan bring to the table that she has had some experience with. So we're really excited to have her.
But you're gonna have to put that on hold for a while, okay?
I know. This darn COVID.
Yeah, no kidding. But one of the things that we do know, the one for September is still scheduled to be held as normal. Now, it's a little bit later in September than it used to be, so it's not right after Labor Day like it used to be. It's held back, I think, in the middle of the month, I believe.
Correct.
So be looking for those dates. They'll be coming out now. The May one will not be rescheduled. It's just going to be basically canceled.
Yes, unfortunately, due to that. Yeah, because there's so many uncertainties. We could postpone, but we would have to set a date, and then we'd have to be. And we don't, with the Armory, we work closely with them as far as scheduling that. So there's so many uncertainties there, and then scheduling conflicts. By that time, we're so close, maybe to the September date.
Yeah, why do it?
Yeah.
So, basically the February, May, and then you tried to get them really right after school, after Labor Day, trying to leave that summer open for holidays.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of people are
traveling.
Going. So, a lot of people are going. Well, not traveling right now. Not too many are leaving.
If there's if they do some lifting and doing some, open it up a little bit, I mean, I'm expecting people will probably want to go out and do things. Now, hopefully they're smart about it, but... Right. I mean, just being realistic, people want to get out.
I'm ready. I mean, I've already lost my trip down to St. Thomas, so it's gone. So, that hurt. But I rebooked it for next year.
Right. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So
maybe got some good deals out of it.
No, not really. Still not a great deal, but nonetheless. But it's still, the idea is that people do need to be careful, even after we're going into the next phase one, I guess, of the governor's plan next Monday. Doesn't mean all of a sudden we start doing, holding each other by the hands and walking hand to hand, side by side, all the way down the roads. Still need social distancing. We still need to get this done. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods, but I did see some statistics that the governor did send out that every area except one has seen significant reductions in the COVID response. The only one went up was St. Louis, and basically that's due to actually 2 nursing homes that absolutely got ravaged. One in Festus that they're calling the St. Louis market, where they have over 60 that got it.
Wow. And that's just, it's...
And that's one person in there, and that's all it takes. That's why it's so important, what the hospital is doing is not allowing that visitor in, not allowing the chance, to reduce the chances of this happening. That's really, it's not to eliminate. You cannot never eliminate it. There's always a possibility that you're going to come in contact with somebody who came in contact with somebody who came in contact with somebody.
Right.
That's a possibility, and that can exist forever.
Right.
And that's how the flu spreads, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So it's similar in that way, in that you may just be you may be walking by somebody who accidentally coughs or whatever, and they've got it. And you got it. You're that close, and that's why they say to 6 feet. So.
Absolutely.
But.
And when it comes to our testing and testing ability, and I'm gonna let Tegan talk on that.
Sure.
But we do have the separate screening sites, and her staff has all the PPE that they would need. But I'll let her kind of explain the process on how she would do that, and her staff.
Well, go ahead. Then why he just introduced you?
I know, this is Steve.
Well, first off, you need to introduce yourself, because Jason didn't do it.
I know, I'm a terrible radio guy. So I will go ahead and do that. I'll be professional. Right. So our new lab director is Tegan Baumack. All right, I got it right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And we are super excited to have her. She's bringing so much experience to the table, years of supervisor experience, and it's a blessing to have her here at SMDH, and she is going to be a great addition and be able to help us grow, especially in the lab department, and not just in the lab, but I think as in the hospital as a whole. So, again, excited.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Tegan, welcome to Salem.
Thank you.
All right. So give a little history about yourself, if you would.
So I came from Salem, Arkansas.
Okay.
So down south a little bit.
She couldn't change names. Good.
Right,
I know.
right.
She was just drawn here. I mean, it was
Same
meant
way,
to be.
different
Yeah.
area.
It's just across the border
Right.
anyway. It's not that far in Arkansas.
Right. Worked in West Plains for a while and different areas in the lab, clinics, and then came up here and lab director up here, and so far it's been great.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we are glad to have you,
Thank you.
and hopefully this will be a very, very long experience for you. We always
Yeah.
like that, and
Right.
continue to make your Salem, Missouri, your home. That would be nicer. All right. Well, so as Jason was mentioning a little bit about this testing, you want to kind of go into this and how the hospital has this arranged and set up.
Right. So like you guys said, you do need to call your physician or call the hospital before just showing up. Before we can do a test, you do have to have a physician order. We cannot just test you because you think you have it. You have to call your physician and have them go through the process of getting you approved for testing.
Or the state number. You can also do the state
Yes,
number,
right,
right? And they can
right.
refer you.
Um,
Like after hours, sometimes hard to get your physician.
Right. And then so they come in, then they'll let you come in, and we even have a drive-through spot. So if you don't need to be seen in the ER or be admitted into the hospital, you can come to that spot. We will come out. My staff will come out in their full PPE and swab you in your car and collect the specimen, and then we bring it back in, and we are sending our specimens to the state lab. And the turnaround time for the results is 24 to 48 hours. So it does take a little time to get those results back.
Okay. PPE is personal protection equipment,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's been a big topic going on.
Well, I
Yeah.
know, but a lot of people have no idea what it is. And,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
really don't. And that's not a mask and gloves. This is the full gear, correct?
So this is going to be a mask, a face shield, gloves, and a gown.
Right.
And I know some places are short. We have plenty. We are not short on that. My staff has what they need to collect the
Very
specimens.
good. Okay, so good. So we are good and stocked on that. Thank Linda Milady for that, right?
Absolutely. Well, it is, yes, and it's been a very large team effort. We have daily meetings over specifically just COVID. Mike Gruenberg and Kathy Haynes, our infection control nurse, and Mike is our EMS director.
Right.
They've been doing a wonderful job as far as coordinating all this,
They're fantastic.
keeping the communication together, keeping Tegan in the loop.
Right.
And Tegan's the one that gets the results, and it's a clockwork now. I couldn't be happier to be at SMDH and how we're handling the COVID situation.
Okay. So as they pull up in their vehicle, you come out, you take the test, then they're free to go, right?
Right,
Because they
there's-
can't really
yep.
do anything else until you get results.
Right. So they pull up. There's a phone number that they call to let us know they're here, and then we come out, test it, and then they're free to go, and we'll let their physician know, and then their physician or nurse will let them know if they're negative or positive.
And you also keep those stats with the Denton County Health Center so
Yep,
that
you
they're
have
up
to
to
report
date
all
on
that.
that. Because I know we talked about testing with Kendra, and she's related. That's still none. So was it 29 tests we had before? That was the board meeting. Has that changed? We've had a few tests since, right?
Oh, we're in the county.
Yeah.
I think we're we're over 30 now, I believe, and we may have one or two pending. No, we have about 4 pending. That's right. We just talked about it this morning.
We have 6 pending that I know of.
Oh, okay. See, she knows more about it than I do. She gets all those
Okay.
reports.
Okay, so we have
Yes.
6 tests pending.
Right.
Right.
But every one we've had so far has been negative.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Now, and a lot of people, to go a little bit deeper into it, you may have, and the state has, I guess, how would you say, opened up the testing screening a little
They've
bit.
relaxed
Changed the
it.
criteria.
Yeah, they've
Yes.
relaxed
Yeah.
it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So more people meet the criteria to
right.
be
Right.
tested. Yeah.
Right.
So, if somebody would have a fever or
Or a cough.
a cough,
Yeah.
Oh,
Any respiratory symptoms.
any respiratory symptoms, they're
And-
probably going to get screened.
Right.
So
And
we're
the-
going to see more.
And this time of year, that's really hard because people, right now the tree pollen is out of sight. So allergies become a big thing. And a lot of people can get a fever from allergies. They can also get respiratory problems from allergies and can cough a lot from allergies. So, now you're kind of run into a double whammy, right?
Right.
Right.
to where a lot of extra testing is being done just to be sure.
Right.
Yes, and I actually spoke to the state health department or health lab yesterday, and they had told me that they had seen so many more testing in just the last 2 days than what they had seen previously. So the whole state must be picking up testing.
Right, and let's be honest, the more tests you take, the better chance of a case
Right.
out there, right?
Absolutely.
You know, so when people say, well, we need more testing so we can make sure everybody's clear. Well, that may be true, but yeah, and you may be clear for this day only. Tomorrow you may come in contact with somebody, so it's not a permanent thing. And once you get tested,
Right.
now you know, and I'm not an expert on this, but you know, you keep hearing the talk about once you get this, you'll be immune like you are to other things, and I'm thinking, okay, well, you're not always immune. And I said, I think there's two different strains of the COVID. One's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast. They're not the same.
Right. So viruses can mutate. And so I know for sure that this virus has already mutated once from China over here. And it's the same with the flu. Every year it's a different flu virus. And so
Right.
that's the same with COVID. It is mutating. And so it's different. It changes. As for reinfection, I feel like they're still doing studies on that, so we don't know yet for sure.
Not enough information.
Right, not enough
to
data.
know.
It's still too new.
Right. But initially, they were saying that once you got it, they want to use the antibodies of those people who have it to create a vaccine. And I'm thinking that it's so new. How would you know you don't get it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, and using those antibodies, they actually can use those. This virus started in animals, so humans have no natural immunity, and so using the antibodies from people that had infection and injecting it into people that have it, that helps them build immunity, and that's what those are for. So you have some immunity to fight it because we don't have any.
But that's still all in its infancy.
It's still all in the testing, new.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing studies, and it takes time. This stuff takes time.
Right. So in your honest opinion, here we are now. We all had the gentleman come out and tell us about, okay, this virus cannot live in sunny areas. In high humidity, sunny areas, it will die within seconds. Well, that's a good news for our area because humidity and heat, they go well together with lots of sunshine. So COVID, I mean, if it's out and about, it's not going to last long. You sneeze on your aluminum bat and it's out in the sun. You got about 3 seconds to pick it up and get it, right? I mean, that's kind of the way they're talking. But people cannot just suddenly relax the sanitation of the hands and washing of the hands because in a supermarket, if you put it on that can, it's air conditioned. It's still going to last a while, isn't it? So just because it gets warmer outside doesn't mean that you just forget these precautions, right?
Yeah, right. Correct.
So people still need to possibly even take gloves to the supermarket if they want to. You're going to go can picking because that's really, I remember getting sick from the grocery store one time, and I remember it because I saw these people. I knew these people in front of me were ill, and I didn't really realize that they had picked up these cans. And then I went and got a can, and it was right after they put it back.
Yeah.
And then you got it on your hands, of course, back then. This has been about 15 years ago. And I didn't think enough about it. I usually do wash my hands as soon as I get home from the grocery store, but I put the groceries away and can't remember if I took a bite of something or whatever. But anyway, about 3 days later, I knew where I got it. But at least it wasn't COVID-19. So what I'm saying is that protection level doesn't stop. Sanitation, the sanitation little bottles the hospital gave out here a few years ago. Well, they don't last very long, but if you can find those again, refill them.
Right.
Just because they're emptied, you can take top off and put a couple of squirts of your bigger one at home and take it with you. And as soon as you get done, squirt, rub, and it'll help you. But don't forget to still wash your hands thoroughly. That's still the best method.
Practice. Yep.
Kathy Haynes will tell you how to wash your hands. She'll show you how to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people, Tegan, forget to wash their fingernails. If you got nails and you're in there and you're picking stuff up, well, they wash between their fingers and they rub their palms together and they do this out, interchange their thumb and everything, but they never wash their fingernails, which you should scrape onto your palm with soap, right?
Yep. Correct.
Saw that on YouTube.
No.
See,
I bet you probably got Kathy on here too, and she probably
Oh,
got
well, I haven't had Kathy on
Oh,
in a
yeah?
while, but
We'll get her
but
on.
when she
Yeah.
was on before, right when the flu season
Oh,
was
yeah.
getting ready to start, she says, just keep your hands out of your face. That's
Right.
the big thing. I mean, even if you know you got something on your hands, it's not getting into your system.
you. Right.
Right.
As long as you can get your hands clean before you pick up something that you're going to put in your mouth, obviously, are also going to be touching your face or your eyes or your nose. Now, see what I just do with my glasses, I just touch my glasses. If I had it on my hands, it would now be on my glasses,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
How many times do people push their glasses up? Things of that nature.
Right.
It's little things you don't even know you do.
Right. You know, and you get to, if you're thinking about, sanitation and being safe, even if you're not maybe you completely healthy, you're not concerned about COVID-19, and it's more of not really your concern as much as far as I'm sure you have family members, I'm sure you have friends that potentially could have problems with this. So it's not maybe if you don't, yeah, there you go.
It's not a cough.
Oh, okay. But the way we look at it, even in healthcare, we want to think of others. We want to think of, I do not want to pass this to somebody, even
Right.
if I have it.
Right.
I do not want to give this to my grandma. I do not want to give this to, and I think about children if they have asthma. I don't know what the studies are of what it does to children that do that. But I don't want to feel like I've done that to somebody else. So that is whenever I think of safety and sanitation, I'm going to do my due diligence and washing my hands and trying to cover my face to make sure, even if I have it, I don't want to pass it to anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's kind of what I just want to throw that out as far as being not necessarily for yourself, but maybe for others.
Other people. Right.
Yeah, and I see these people, and Krista that works down at Salem Residential Care, and it's really difficult when they say family members come by and they got to stand outside, look out through a window. They FaceTime sometimes, but still, it isn't the same.
Right.
People live off in their family off touch, feel, emotion. Through a glass wall, there's not a lot of emotion. You can really, when you hug somebody, and the thing is, this is a temporary thing. It's not permanent. We all know COVID-19 is dangerous, but the flu is dangerous as well.
Right. Yes.
When people get compromised with the flu, and the flu kills more people every year. I mean, hundreds of thousands of range worldwide.
Yeah.
I remember my grandfather, who was a doctor, he said the influenza is nature's way of getting rid of what nature feels is people who are now compromised. It's natural. He says the same thing happens with animals. If an animal gets diseased, they go off by themselves and they perish. I mean, that's basically it. And with humans, we all care for each other, so you don't walk away and go, right up underneath the tree and then do it yourself. If you know you've got something, because we'll fight it. We will fight
Right.
it. But animals kind of get that, I guess, that internal thing. But, not trying to be negative about it, but if you get the flu and your system's compromised, say you've got problems with your lungs or you've got some other very, very heart problems. The strain that it puts on you can kill you, right?
It can. Yes.
Yeah. And if you think about, and Tegan probably helped me on this one, but if you go back 100 years ago, and look at all the things technology-wise that as humans we've created to help us live longer.
Yeah.
Vaccines, medicines, health tests
Yeah.
to tell us, we need to be watching this. And
Right.
people didn't have it anymore,
Right.
Back then they didn't know they had high cholesterol.
Yeah.
So they kept eating their bacon. Things like that.
It tasted good, though, Jason.
Yeah, a lot of back then they worked it off. But
That's exactly right. I was going to interject, but the times have changed. Where you go back, I mean, when they talk about the Spanish flu in 1918, Okay, that came into the East Coast, into the industrial sector, and it spread.
Mm-hmm.
But it only could spread by train. It took a long time. And when you looked into the Midwest, it was sporadic. East Coast, red. But as you went further west, you didn't have cars. I mean, you had them, but nobody drove a car that far. They didn't have to. But you could take the train.
Yeah.
So the train became the spreading way of getting that disease from one human to another. But they all came off the boat back then, came through Ellis Island,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody in Ellis Island who was there when that came through got it.
Right.
Of course, they didn't know about washing hands. They didn't have hand sanitizers. They didn't have any of that stuff. So, you know, you could see how quickly something like this could happen.
Oh yeah.
And this is how it happened in New York. And everybody came back through JFK at one time. And they're all in there. Well, yeah, you got a whole bunch of people got infected. And then when they got out of JFK, they didn't go get isolated. They went everywhere.
It's crazy how that chain reaction just happens.
And it
from
is.
just
It's-
transmission.
It's scary. So, but it is something that you can't take lightly.
Mhm.
I know, and a lot of people have recovered. I wish they would talk more about the recovery rate than they
Yeah.
would about the death rate, because and everything I've read about it, those people who do pass from COVID-19, it takes about 10 to 14 days. So even after they're diagnosed and they're tested positive, and some of these numbers look bad. Well, we had all these tests that day, and we had 25 people tested positive. Well, of the 25 people, right now they're seeing like 1% dies. That's if 1% is still the going rate. Is that still about right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, about 1%. So, 25%, that's not even one person is going to
Right.
die from that.
Right.
I'm not saying they're not going to get sick. They may get sick and end up in the hospital, but they're not going to die from it. Well, when you start to see, like in the Seattle nursing home, when it hits those people who are already compromised and they're living out their last years, and all of a sudden it really picks that pace up because they are compromised. Their lung capacity is shorter. They may have heart problems. They may have other problems. Some of those people all their resistance may be gone. As far as being able to fight off anything. And so, my dad passed last July, and I'm kind of almost thankful. Not that I wanted him to pass, but that he would not have to go through this, because he's a very social person. Don't know what would have happened if he had to be locked inside.
Right.
At 94, hard to change
Right.
somebody.
Right.
So, and a lot of the older people want to communicate, they want to socialize, and that's what keeps them going. And then when you kind of lock them away and say,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can't see your family, or you can't see your neighbor, and you can't. But it's for their own good. But it's still, we all have that fight to be free, I think, and it's that.
And I don't think they understand. They don't quite understand. I think they do. Some do. Some don't. When you're dealing with dementia and
Right.
Alzheimer's, and to be able to see your family even though it's for their protection, but they can only see their family through a glass.
Mm-hmm.
There's no telling where their mind goes,
Sure.
with that.
Sure.
And it's sad, and we understand it, but it's a necessity
Yeah.
for their protection.
For their protection. Right.
Yeah, we're just in those day and times.
Yeah. Well, but we recognize that we can do something about it. Like you mentioned years ago, what would you do? You didn't really have.
Right.
Everybody didn't have a telephone. There was no TV, no such thing as the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're doing these medicines and new lab tests, and Tegan can talk more about the lab tests because I'm not that guy. But we're making technology in healthcare to where we can catch those things and treat those things faster to where we can live longer.
Right.
However, COVID-19 happens. Influenza happens.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be another COVID. There's going to be another influenza
Sure.
at some point in time in the future. It's just, that's
Well,
life.
coronavirus, there's virtually one every year.
Right.
Right. It
Yes.
just doesn't get out of control like this one did, where there's no history on it that you can actually put some kind of vaccine together or take something for it that will reduce its effects, correct?
Correct. Because it did start in the bats over
Right.
in China, and so that's why it's just a new strand of coronavirus that has came out, and it's just new, and so we don't have we don't have vaccines, and that stuff takes time to make and develop and study and make sure it's safe before they release it. So
Well, they're expediting
hopefully-
it pretty quick.
right,
but,
and hopefully if there is another season of coronavirus, we'll have a vaccine.
Right.
Even if it's a different strand or a different mutation, it's
Right.
still some immunity is better than none.
Well, and like, they're saying it's going to be back in the fall. Well, I mean, they said that back almost right when it got started. Once it hit every state and then every nation. If it's in every nation, you have two different hemispheres. So right now we're getting warmer. They're getting cooler down there in Australia and over in South Africa. I mean, they're all getting a lot cooler. And then the virus will move. It will mutate, but it will move. And it moves up because of the sunlight, which also kills the flu virus, by the way. The heat eliminates a lot of that. It doesn't kill it. I mean, it can
Right.
still exist, right? But when we get those hot days in the summer, you don't have anybody with the flu very often unless they have picked up an old can that had it, or picked up a can that had it, or somebody fresh has come in from an area that had it, and they can spread it. But usually, by the time they come in, if they put something and it's hot outside, not going to bother people. So it doesn't spread as quickly. And that's why the flu spreads so quickly from November, usually. Flu season, October to March, basically.
Basically, yeah.
When the warmer days start kicking back in, it starts to dwindle down. So now, will that do with COVID-19? Obviously not. We saw it actually in Australia. We've seen it in a lot of different places where it was warmer there, in China, and it's made its way over. So obviously, even though the heat does affect it, it came at the right time when everybody was kind of stuck inside,
Right.
and then took off. So I'm hoping, I'm knocking on wood, that within the next month and a half, that a lot of this is going to be by the wayside. I think part of our new normal will be a little bit more social distancing. I don't think it's always going to be 6 feet,
Right.
'cause unless you cough or sneeze within 3 feet, it's not going to jump off your shoulder onto you, right?
Right.
So I think that it'll change a little bit, but as of right now, let's just play it safe, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
You bet.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to throw something out there because I thought this was really neat, even though I cannot explain it. Tegan can. But
That's why
Maybe.
she's here.
yeah, exactly. Because I know a lot of people will say, why can't we just go get a test? I just want to go get a test. So Tegan knows a lot about, we have different types of, now COVID testing is just not something we can up and do.
Right.
But when it comes to like our flu analyzers and such, there's a different testing out there that we have. Now, we have what they call a
Molecular flu testing.
There
It's
it is.
By PCR, and it is the gold standard for flu testing. It's more sensitive, more specific. So there's an incubation time for when you get the flu. So if you're infected with the flu, obviously it's going to take a few days before you show positive.
right.
This picks up your flu symptoms, and you're positive. It will show flu positive sooner than other testing. And so it's the best. And that is the state lab is using molecular testing for COVID. And that is why we're using them. There are so many companies out there that are developing testing for COVID, but we're sticking with state right now because they are molecular and it is the best. So that's why we are using
So this
them.
Abbott lab test that they say can be 5 to 8 minutes, right?
Right.
How accurate do you think that can be?
So
I'm just asking your opinion. I
Right.
mean, because they're saying you could take this test with 5 to 8 minutes. You're going to know if you have the virus or not. Okay, like you're saying, in those early stages, can it pick it up in the early stages?
I don't know for sure off the top of my head if the Abbott is molecular or what kind of testing platform it is. That would depend on that. But I do think they did their studies in the FDA approved that
They
one.
did. Yeah, they did.
So I would think that it would be pretty accurate since it went through the process and did all the studies and they proved that their stuff was correct, their data was correct. I would think that one would be accurate. Now, to get that testing, you have to have those analyzers, or you have to purchase those analyzers that perform that test, and not all hospitals have that capability to do that.
Well, it's hard to get them.
It's very
You know,
hard to get
and
them
you
right
know,
now.
you would say, well, if they've approved it, it should be great. You still have to manufacture them.
Yeah.
So, if there's a demand of 300 million, you can imagine if it takes, start with one,
Right.
but it's not going to happen that quickly. And areas that are harder hit are more than likely going to get those tests
First.
quicker
Yeah.
than an area that has no tests that are positive.
Correct.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but they call the actual, whenever they do the swab for the flu in our molecular at Salem Hospital, the media, is that right? Is that okay?
It's called viral media.
Okay. We can't get that right now. It is on back order.
Yeah.
Because I think due to COVID,
Yes.
they're just testing more, and we are having trouble getting all that. However, we do have some supply
Right.
to be able to do, and it's not COVID testing. I mean, make that, it's not a COVID. For
Right.
flu, we have the
Yes.
flu capabilities with the molecular. And what was the accuracy rate on that?
Oh, like 90. I
Like-
want to say 99%.
Wow. I mean, that's
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
that's gold standard.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it is. It is gold standard.
the previous kits I'm wanting to say was in the 70s and
Yeah.
80s
Yeah.
accuracy. So, I mean, that's just, I like to toot our lab's horn on to
Yeah.
be able to have something like that.
Yes.
So, anyway, sorry.
Well, no, that's very good. People need to know that
Yeah.
these tests are available, and if you go to SMDH Family Medicine, they say, hey, we want to send you over there and get that test, or they can, I don't know, you guys have a lab up there. Do they take
Right.
that test right up there?
Yes, they can.
they? Okay,
We are
so-
not right now due to the flu
I
causing an
understand.
aerosol
Right,
and
right, I
spreading
understand
COVID.
that.
So
I understand that. But, under normal circumstances, so you can get it done right there. So, I mean, you've got the latest and the greatest. We've got, a 1-year-old mammogram, a mammography machine. So, we've got that, which ours is still newer than the one across the road down there, about 25
Yeah.
miles.
Yeah, way
You
over
know.
that direction that
Yeah.
nobody needs to worry about.
Yeah, that one, and then the other one 45 minutes
There you
away.
go. Yeah.
So, it doesn't mean every time you get something newer, it's always better. But
Right.
and a lot of times, when you get something newer, it has a little bit more advancement, or it has been upgraded from that last one. So, Salem Hospital has really gone a long way. And with the new MRI coming in, is there any anticipated date that's going to come in? I know that the foundation footings have been put down, and you guys are working on it.
We're right in the mix of construction right now. We are still on track to be. I believe the actual machine will be set in-house. Not maybe to be functional right now, but
Wow.
set in-house in July.
Yeah, I was thinking July, and I thought the date was September.
That's still the go live date, I believe.
Do some
So,
testing,
Yeah.
samples,
Yep.
make sure everything is good. All right,
Yep.
so there you go. The improvements continue.
Right, and I will say that if for some reason you do have to come to the hospital for a test or what have you, excuse our mess. We are in construction. We need to probably have some signage and stuff out there, which we will. But with all this COVID going on, we're really focusing on COVID.
Yeah, right now.
But we didn't want to stop production on our construction because, again, this is your hospital. We want to do this for you to be able to offer those services. And again, no matter if you go see a provider, whichever your provider, and you live in Salem or the surrounding area and you don't want to have to travel and go get a test somewhere else, you have the full right to have it here done in Salem Hospital.
Absolutely.
If we have the service, we'll be more than happy to do it for you. If it's a lab draw or what have you, Tegan and her staff will be more than happy to help you with that. Or if it's a radiology or if it's anything the ancillary services, the outpatient, Salem Hospital will be more than happy to take care of
And
it.
that includes cardiopulmonary.
Absolutely.
You don't want to,
Yeah.
You don't have to go very far to get the proper treatment and get the right testing done.
Yeah, cardio,
know.
lab, radiology, rehab.
Right. Well, I was going to say, you got rehab and home health that are top notch.
Absolutely.
Have been for years. And, and a lot of times it's much more personal when you do it in smaller hospitals too, because everybody gets to know you, and they recognize you, and of course you recognize them. You're more comfortable with them. I remember after my dad had his heart surgery, the nurse that came by every time was a different nurse every single time. Some guys, some girls. One would be Saturday morning, one would be Tuesday afternoon. It's when they're coming to the house, and you don't get to know anybody.
Yeah.
Now I do know that one of the last ones he had was the same girl that came in, which was great. He got to know who she was, but that doesn't always happen in the city, and it just depends on what company they use. So it's just an assignment to them. It's not personal.
Yeah, I think a Salem Hospital is family taking care of family.
It is personal. I think it's personal. Everything is very, very like one-on-one. Very, very one-on-one. All right, very good. Well, a couple things real quick before we wrap up. Number one, golf tournament's still good.
We are still a go on the golf tournament. It'll Friday, June 5th, I believe that is right. Yeah, it's not 6th, 5th. At Spring Creek Golf Club there, we are still taking teams or donation sponsorships. Even if you just want to donate a prize for a giveaway, we'd be more than happy to have it. I mean, again, it's a foundation event, so it goes to having and doing capital purchases. A hospital will be able to provide services like the MRI, like the mammography, things like that, or to be able to offer, just more things for the community. So yeah, come out and join us.
Okay. So if somebody has a question, needs an entry form, they can just contact you.
You can contact me at the hospital, or you can actually go on our website. You can get those.
On the website.
The information will be all right there. Matter of fact, we even put, I believe the form is on there. So if not, it'll be on there today.
All right. SMDH.net.
Yep.
Net. SMDH.net. You can check that out. Maybe, do you mind even have it on your Facebook page?
I'll have to look on that.
Okay.
I'll have to look on that. I'm not for sure on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I haven't been on your Facebook page in about a week. So, I try and I'm not a big Facebook guy anyway, but I try and check our businesses' Facebook pages to make sure there's nothing new that may be coming up. Because it's hard to always be in contact with you guys because you're busy. So try not to bother you. All right, so we got the golf tournament still good for June 5th. You're still working on Wings and Strings for September, correct?
Yes, we are still September 12th. Another good event that'll be turn out. Hopefully COVID does not alter that in any direction. I mean, it's quite possible it could, but we are still currently looking for bands. But it's another, you got the wing off and a lot of the fun things, cornhole tournament. It's just a neat event to come out and have some fun.
Going to be a bigger cornhole tournament this year from
will.
what you said. Yeah.
Oh,
Going to be ready for that one. So
we're prepared for that one.
Yeah. Not going to get.
Hey, you live, you learn on your first year.
Well, you never know on the first one. You just don't know.
Right.
So a lot of neat stuff going on. Okay, very good. In May, are they still going to do the barbecue? Do you know? Is that still going to be something that
the auxiliary barbecue?
Yes.
It is not going to happen from what I've been told.
Right.
So,
they were talking about it.
Yeah, but due to everything going on, I think it is canceled.
Well, they were talking about actually having it and just delivering the meals, and
right.
That takes a lot of people to go deliver meals.
It does. So, with everything going on, I think they decided at this time that maybe they'll do something later.
Yeah.
But for right now, they wanted to go ahead and cancel.
It's normally done in May, but we'll push that off, and we won't say it's canceled. We'll just say it's postponed.
Yeah.
How's that?
We'll postpone with a thought in the air of what are we going to do?
All right.
That was a weird explanation.
Yeah, that was really weird, but I didn't want to go there. Anyway, the health fair for May, though, has been canceled. That will not be rescheduled, and the next one will be in September. So you're not going to be able to meet Tegan yet, unless you have to go to the lab. And
right.
then if you go to the lab, then you'll meet Tegan, or unless you walk in here in the next about minute and a half, you might meet her. But anyway, we really thank you for coming in, spending some time with us, and welcome to Salem.
Thank you.
And I hope you had a good time. Hope we didn't put you on the spot too much today.
Wasn't too
See,
bad.
that was too
I will throw something in there about the health fair. I just want to plug that in a little bit. We do have our current tests that we did before. So when you come in September, we'll still have our current tests that we've always done, we included a vitamin D this next.
You did last time, too.
They did that last time. Now with the bone density, some changes we had to do there is if we are still doing the same with the bone density, however, you will need to have your provider's physician order to get that exam from now on. That is because it is it's a radiology exam, and we have to do that by the book. So just in the future, if you do want that exam, we'll fully do what the healthcare screen for a DEXA, and the price, same thing, unless, future prices change, but as of now, just make sure to have your physician's order with
So
you.
you'll need to have that before you go to this health screening.
It would be nice if you had it at the health screen.
Well, that's what I mean, because
Yes.
you have to
You
go
can
right
show
from
that.
there basically up
Yes.
to get the test. So
Yes.
it'd be hard for you to go to the health screen and say, yeah, I'm going to buy that, and my physician's supposed to send me that notice any minute now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it would be more if you can get the order from your physician, come to the health screening. If you have it, pay for it, we'll go do the DEXA.
Right, very
Yep.
good, and it's a lot easier than it used to be. Trust
Yes.
me, it doesn't take very long at all.
Yeah.
And I went through it, not this past test, but back September, the previous one.
Mhm.
Still got bones as hard as a dang gone rock. So
Is that what you mean by you're hard-headed?
hard headed, you betcha. Well, I thought he took my picture of my lower extremity. Maybe he got my head. You never know.
But-
those guys over there like to have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one right over there, Tegan. She likes to have some fun.
Fit right in there. Very good. Well, anyway, again, thank you for coming in, Jason. As always, thanks for coming in. If you have any
Absolutely.
questions about what you heard here, or want to find out more about the golf tournament, Wings and Strings, you can contact Jason. Your number is, sir.
You can call the hospital at 729-6626, and my extension is 4003.
Well, you remembered it this time. That's very
I
good.
did.
If you have any questions about any lab tests, or maybe you
She's new enough
Ask
she
for
can't
the
remember
lab.
her extension.
ask for the lab. Okay.
That's right.
729-6626. Ask for the lab, and Tegan will be there. And if you have any questions about something you might have heard here today, maybe you're confused a little bit,
Right.
get it, find out, get the answers. Don't sit there and say, well, she said this, and that's not really what she said, or that might be what you heard,
Right.
and that's not really what she said. So, I mean, a lot of times we start talking about COVID and flu, and you can really get those two really mixed up.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of similarities actually
Correct.
to them. However, they are different. It's a different type of deal.
And their testing is virtually identical, with the swab, right?
Right, the swabbing for flu, for us, since we use molecular for our flu testing, it is the same specimen, same swab. It's a nasal pharyngeal swab. So,
However, the way they do the test is totally different.
yes.
Oh,
yep,
yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's what
yeah.
I meant to swab.
But anyway,
Swabby swab.
we always appreciate our friends in the hospital coming in, and always want to remind them they do a great job over there. Again, a real quick reminder: no visitors, and that may not even be lifted on Monday. I mean, a lot of businesses are going to be opening up their doors on Monday. I know we know the banks now are going to open their lobbies on Monday, which is a great thing. That's a good start. We know some of the restaurants are going to be opening back up on Monday for in-house seating, but there will be social distancing, guys. However, the hospital, with a little bit more degree of need, may have to delay that off a little while.
Yeah, but just the sheer fact of, if there is COVID in the community, chances are, we're in healthcare. We're there to take care of anybody and everybody.
Right.
So if COVID is, they would be more apt to be in a healthcare facility. So in their protection, for the community's protection, it may be to where we not lift that no visitor policy for a little bit of time.
Right,
We
sure.
know not 100% on that yet, but again, that's just for community protection.
Nothing wrong with community protection.
Oh yeah.
It always is a good thing. Keep everybody
Healthy
healthy
and
and safe. Yeah,
Yeah.
you betcha. Again, thanks for coming in, guys. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned. Civic Happenings, they are next.
Do you need your house or business power washed? Decker Pro Exteriors LLC can handle that for you. But that's not all Jake Decker and his crew can do. They can do roof washing, fleet, and farm equipment washing, concrete and deck cleaning, and in these times of COVID-19, they can even disinfect anything exterior, including playground equipment. If it can be power washed, give Decker